Welcome everybody from Listenerland to another extravaganza. I can't say it. Extravaganza?
Extravaganza.
Welcome everybody from Listenerland to another extravaganza of buttery vocals in your ear. Today we'll be discussing where bands went wrong.
The worldwide podcast.
Yes, this podcast is available on the World Wide Web. Wayne's just discovered it. He thought the www was a stutter. Yes, where bands went wrong. So this is about where you initially may have liked a band, but then as the band's progressed down the years, they've changed and you become appalled with them. You despise every fibre of their being.
Well, not necessarily despise.
And you wish that their face would combust into flames.
You went off them, in other words.
Yes. Or either they changed or you changed.
Well, I think that's probably a good point, because that could be like a combination of the two things that happen into it. If you follow a band for so long, they are going to change because they don't want to stick, unless the status quo, they don't want to stick as that thing they started out with. They want to evolve slightly, sometimes not in your particular taste, in a way that you're not particularly keen of.
But so sometimes it don't
to
work.
you, it's not like bands go wrong for everybody. Oh, that band went wrong. It's like, it's a personal opinion about I lost my whatever it was.
Excuse me?
Mojo.
Yeah. It's no. I think it's a very personal thing. You evolve. You've less liking for folk music, and they were a folk band when they started out. I don't know. Whatever it is.
We're going to find out 3 of them anyway.
Yes, we are. Definitely.
Yes.
Well, you have to nod your head when you said that thing. Yes, you are. So who's going to start this evening's proceedings by telling us all about the band that they think went wrong?
You can go for
Go
it.
on.
Then.
Do you want me to go?
Go for it. Go on.
Go for
Well, I'm
it.
just padding it out a bit, don't I? All right.
Padding it out a bit.
Yeah. So I've took a particular approach on this subject where bands go wrong. And mine is, it depends on your entry point to the band. My particular entry point to the band is that I went into them and then went backwards, and that's the band I liked from that period. So some people would have joined their career later on, and they would have looked at it and said, great band. I'll have a look at their back catalogue, and gone back and thought, what the hell were wrong with them? And my band is Fleetwood Mac. So my initial love of Fleetwood Mac was the old school Fleetwood Mac with Peter Green. And then when they get to Rumours, or the album before that probably with Lindsey Buckingham, which was quite successful, sold about 4 million, that would be some people's entry point into Fleetwood Mac, so they would only know that band.
Yeah, it does annoy me when people refer to Fleetwood Mac as like, amazing stuff, but like it annoys me that they don't know.
Nicks.
Yeah, they don't know about the Jumping at Shadows.
Why they kept the same name, I don't know, because they're completely different band.
It's very frustrating to try and talk about Fleetwood Mac. Then you have to keep explaining like which one you want about.
Yeah, they didn't necessarily go wrong. They just completely changed from one band to other. And it's where you, like you say, your entry point into that band. So but they were formed in 1967 by Peter Green and Jeremy Spencer, who was a guitar and slide player, also did a bit of piano work, and Mick Fleetwood. And so they started off. Mick V didn't start till a couple of months later, and they had a temporary bass player until he joined them. And they all came together, and after some time of rehearsing, there was a second album that they did, and they got Danny Kirwan in. Kirwan, that's him. And he was a young lad, a young prodigy. He'd been following Pete Green around for a couple of years, and he were really taking it like a bit of a fanboy thing going on. And eventually they asked him to join band because he could play, and that's where all hits came. All the ones that I know of that period, Green Man Alicia, Man of the World, all that type of stuff. And all that is, for me, it's Fleetwood Mac. The second generation of Fleetwood Mac, 1977, second album of this new generation, Rumours. Well, a bit of a flop, really, weren't it?
Yeah, it didn't really do much.
No, I think it's the 5th or 7th best-selling album of all time.
Yeah.
over 40 million units shipped out.
Is it one of those things though where? Well, actually, hold on. Were you a fan of it when it came out?
I bought it.
Or were you a fan of it?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
You didn't just recoil against it because of its success,
No, because there's only two types of music anyway.
right?
Ones you like, one you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is in my book. And I liked it,
Right.
but it wasn't Fleetwood Mac.
I suppose they did give you the option though, didn't they, that you could go your own way if you wanted to.
Yeah, Dreamer.
What and not buy it.
Yeah, you could go your own way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dreamer.
Yeah.
And so the old Fleetwood Mac, it went through enormous changes after about 1970, 71 when Pete Green left. They must have had at least a dozen members come into the band and leave between 70, 71 and 74. There must have been at least a dozen different members came into the band, and they all lasted a short spell and then they went. Either they left or they were fired. There might have been more, actually, thinking about it. And then...
13 of them, maybe.
Like a,
13 of them, maybe.
like a long,
Well, there might have been
like a
13.
long chain.
Like a long chain.
Yeah, but there were constant changes of roles. Christine McVie, she started as a backing singer, really, as a session singer for band.
Hasn't she just recently died?
Mm.
She hasn't she?
Yeah,
Was it
she
just,
has.
Just
She's the
before
one-
Christmas, just
Yeah,
after
something
Christmas?
like that, yeah. Just after Christmas, I think.
Was it just after?
Yeah.
And she got on that well with John McVie, so that she married him.
Well, that's a coincidence because they both had same
It
surname.
is, isn't
don't
it? Strange
they?
that. But what was her original name?
Yeah. S.
Perfect.
Really?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
What, it began with S?
Sorry?
Perfect, it began with S? Or,
Maiden name was Perfect.
Wow.
oh,
He is sliding in there with a little bit of trivia. What was Cilla Black's real surname?
Silhouette.
Yeah. Did you know that was that a guess?
No, I knew that.
Oh,
I've
right.
heard it before.
All right.
Because I thought it was a joke.
Yeah, it sounds like a joke, doesn't
apparently
it?
it isn't.
No, it was Cilla White. I guess Black's more edgy.
I wonder why she
Yeah.
went to that.
Edgy, innit?
It's a bit like Michael Jackson.
What, his real name's White?
No, it's Michael Black.
No, he went from black to white.
Ugh. Well, as he did state once, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't.
Anyway,
One
Fleetwood
big-
Mac.
just one big
Descending.
family.
It's descending. Anyway, 1975, the release, 74, they released their first album. Christy McVie is now married, John McVie, and they've got married. She's entered band. Quite successful first album. Then they were in America looking for somewhere to I think it was a studio they were looking for. And that's when they came across Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks. And then they did that first
What
album, then
year did
Rumours
Pete
were
Green
born.
pack up?
I'm sorry?
What year did Pete Green stop then?
70, 71.
Well, he slips off with a German cult, doesn't he? He got on a plane and got off and then went off with this cult and sort of
Did he?
disappeared. And he fell into a bit of a drug
Don't think
place.
so.
I'm sure he did.
Didn't he grow his fingernails or something
No.
like that to stop him playing guitar?
Jeremy Spencer did.
No, it's Peter Green.
I think the thing with Peter Green was he had a bad acid trip and it unbalanced him. It unbalanced him.
I could put solid doubloons,
So some of your earth pounds.
some of my earth shillings
Earthbound.
on that Peter Green ran off with a German hippie cult and spent years drugged up to his eyeballs because he lost his mind.
It did return slightly at one stage because Jeremy Spencer, who was the piano player, slide player. Oh, if you listen to Albatross, that's him playing the slide on there, which is a classic piece of work. While they were touring America, he suddenly decided, right, I've had enough, I'm off. And he left and he joined the Children of God religious cult. And he's still affiliated them to this day, apparently.
Yeah.
Didn't Pete
Danny
Green...
Kelward, he was just a very unbalanced young man anyway, but it sounds like very fragile emotionally. Could be very temperamental and tantrum-like.
Isn't it... is it true that Pete Green grew his fingernails to stop him from playing guitar?
Yeah, after he left, he gave all his guitars away and he grew his fingernails so that he couldn't play.
Yeah.
Physically stopped himself playing. It unbalanced him. And it weren't till later when he sort of, I was going to say calmed down a bit, but I don't think that's not really the right expression. But they had, when Jeremy Spencer left, he came back to finish the tour for him. But he said to him, I'm only going to do it if it's completely jam. It's a jam session. It's going to be very loose. There's no structure to it. Wherever we play. And they'd play like 2-hour versions of one song. And they go on forever and ever. But the Americans actually loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually loved
Because
it.
he came back and did a solo album, didn't he?
He did what, sorry?
Didn't he come back and the first album was a solo album when he came back onto guitar? And didn't it call something like Pete Green Does the Blues or something like that?
I don't know. You might be right. You might be right. But it came, as far as I can remember, when he came back as a professional working musician, it was as Peter Green Splinter and the Splinter Group.
Because unless he did it with them, for some reason, I just seem to think that I heard an album and I thought it was his first one back. Pete Green Does the Blues or Pete Green Plays the Blues or something like that.
Oh, yeah, then you got me thinking. Now, that title sounds familiar. Here's the Blues. It
might be Pete, yeah, it might be Here's the Blues by Pete, but it's something Pete Green and something blues, and it's just a blues album. And I thought that was his first album back when he decided to pick guitar back up again.
That sounds familiar, to be honest with you. But I can't say yes or no. I can't say yes or no. You might be right. I'll accept your opinion on that one. Yeah, well remembered if it is, but I don't remember it. Yeah. But it does sound very familiar.
I'm sure somebody out there might tell us.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be somebody that will definitely tell us. Going back to the second part of Fleetwood Mac, they did several albums afterwards, and they're all quite successful, but not as successful as Rumours. They were difficult to beat, really. And by 1990, I think they'd all just about had enough for each other, and they'd all got their angst about each other out at way, and then it all sort of dried up slightly, and away they went. But now they come back again, and now they're doing the disco tour. Well, sorry, the jukebox tour, where they just go and play the hits.
What, they're back together?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
really?
She's died, though, hasn't she? So they haven't really... How many original members?
Well, she stopped playing in the 90s.
Oh, right, okay.
She stopped playing 98 or something.
Is Stevie Nicks back and all then?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
They're all
I didn't know
back
that.
together. He's singing for them. Him from 4 Seasons in One Day.
Crowded House.
Neil
Oh,
Finn.
right.
Neil
Finn's singing for him now.
Oh,
I think he's taking the part of Lindsay Buckingham.
right.
But I know where you're going now. Lindsay Buckingham's not in the band. Christy McVie's just died. But the rest of them are. The rest of them are there.
Right.
So that's really, if you understand what I mean, that's what I mean. It depends on your entry point. For me, they went wrong, but they went very right. But Fleetwood Mac to me is the pre-1972 stuff, when it was more blues related. Green Man Unleashed, it's such a wonderful track, that one. Great track. Everybody should own that track. Anyway, that was me. Oh.
Fleetwood Mac, there we go.
Fleetwood Mac indeed. Great band.
So they didn't go wrong. You just don't like that they have the same name.
Well,
they went wrong in the fact that he thought they should have stopped or even carried on under a different name, but they went wrong by carrying the name on.
Yeah.
And the legacy when they should have stopped it. Right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't get that, do you?
I do, yeah. But I mean, it's just, yeah.
It's a what?
Well, they were good, but yeah, it's a name issue, isn't it? Really, it's a name problem.
It's two distinct bands. It's not just a name, it's two distinct bands. There's what resemblance has the Rumours got to do with Green Man Alicia?
Nothing. But it's the fact that they've carried over the same name, which is the problem.
Yeah.
If they call themselves
Part 2, even the
Salt, Pepper, Chips,
Fleetwood Mac and the rest of us Part 2. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just sounded really odd.
Yeah.
I know they all, like we said, they all evolved, but they just evolved into a power pop band instead of a blues band.
That's where the money is, isn't it?
And they earned a lot of that.
Yeah. Hasn't the drummer got his own island?
I think he has, yeah. Apparently, while they were making Rumours, they wanted at some stage to put their coke dealer on the sleeve notes because they were buying that much coke off him. They wanted to put him on sleeve notes, but he got shot, so they didn't bother.
Good Lord.
He probably bought the island off at profits just off Rumours.
Yeah. So Wayne,
am I going next? You want me to go next?
What band let you down?
The band that I thought went wrong for me was a little band. I don't know if they were formed in 73, but the first album was in 1973. Up until 1995, they had some great hits back in early days. And the ones that I'm going to go for is a little band called Queen.
Ooh, controversial.
Yes, well, I mean, these guys were probably some people's favourite bands of all time. And the war when they were young and when they were coming out with like Killer Queen, Seven Seas Arrive, White Man, We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions.
What have they done lately? Nothing.
They did all that, and there were some great tracks, really good tracks. They had a little hit with Bohemian Rhapsody, and then in 1981 they got offered a chance to do the soundtracks to a film
Oh, Flash Gordon.
called Flash Gordon.
God's alive!
Wasn't that? It was.
Oh my God!
It was Thinger's son who wanted to do it, wasn't it?
I don't know. Who
Brian
it
May.
was.
It was Brian May's son who was a big fan of Flash Gordon, and he really wanted him to do the
Is
album.
that
Yeah.
how they did it?
So they thought, oh, okay.
Well, all right, we'll excuse him for that. And we'll excuse him for making a bad album, really, because it's for a film, so they didn't really have a say in it, did they? But then, in 81, after they did that, in 1984, they come out with The Works, and they did a track, I Want to Break Free.
I think I
Wow.
remember that one. Yeah, I seem to recall that.
I wish I could forget it.
You didn't like that one?
This is a rock band that's had some massive hits, and then they come out with I Want to Break Free. It would just pop. It would just commercialise crap.
Well, that's the 80s, isn't it? Everything was synthesized. Everything was.
But what
stadium.
direction were they trying to hit or achieve by doing something like that?
Well,
And then the second hit off the album were probably even worse. It were about a children's bleeding radio show. Radio Goo Goo, Radio Gaga.
yeah, I don't like
What
that song. I'm not a fan of that
hell,
song. either.
what the hell going off there? Come on. Brian May must have been like, oh, God, I can't wait to get my teeth into this. I can
did John
write some
Deacon-
great solos.
Did John
What's he gonna
Deacon
play
write
about-
that one?
Well, he wants a slap. What's he going to play on a chuffy tambourine and some maracas? Absolute garbage.
Yeah,
Shite.
the 80s aren't their shining glory. I don't think.
But
Apart from
what was the famous
Live
for
Aid.
doing? What was the famous for doing? Doing them crowd chant anthemic songs.
Yeah,
And
but
it
we
doesn't get
were
any
rock,
better than that, does
but
it?
We were rock. We were the champions. They were decent tracks back in early times. And then
The
they come
early
out-
times.
Yeah, and then they come out. All we hear is
Yeah.
Radio Gaga.
guess the-
I get your point.
What?
But can you remember that scene from Live Aid? Was it 85, 86? What year
Yeah,
was it?
I know. Yeah,
And 80,000 people
Yeah.
put their hands in the air and clapped.
yeah. All sucking dummies. And
But you've got
God, there
nappies
might
on.
have been. But how good was that?
You've got to remember, like, the time as well. So they're probably feeling quite old, right, as a band, and there's lots of new artists coming up, and there's lots of new technology and production software, and choruses are quite strong.
Yeah, but they're
there's
just-
stadium rock, so they're probably feeling like, oh, we need to adapt, we need to get with the times.
Yeah, but it didn't
And
work.
it made them a hell of a lot of money, so technically it did work, but I don't think.
80,000 people, hands in the air.
Yeah.
All we hear is.
But I don't think
Horrendous.
I don't think it's critically their best work.
It was terrible.
But
was
it sold them a lot of
absolute
records.
Garbage.
a lot of records.
It was just commercialised stuff, though, wasn't it?
They
Just-
went through a very unpopular phase as well because they
yeah,
were doing.
probably from 81 onwards.
Well, they did a gig in South Africa, didn't they? When there was
For three people.
all that controversy.
Three
Oh, that,
people in a zebra.
Sun City, was it? Something
Something like that.
like
There was a lot of
that.
controversy.
Everybody
with,
else was fighting against apartheid.
But
They-
wasn't it I Want to Break Free that got them kicked out of America?
Oh no, that was
Didn't it?
probably extracurricular activities.
No, I think it was. They do it, or they had a tour planned, or they were in the middle of a tour, and they came out with I Want to Break Free, and Americans went, no, you're not playing that
It
crap
was
over
Southern
here.
States, weren't it?
Something
they,
like
they
that,
didn't
wasn't
like
it?
it because they were all dressed up as females.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, and
I just thought it was.
I don't think
'cause it were a
they got
crap
kicked
song.
out. They couldn't sell the tickets for the shows, something like that.
And then after doing two bad songs like that, they think, right, we need to get ourselves back on track here. Let's do It's a Kind of Magic. Oh, yeah, it's a kind of magic.
I never remembered it with that
my
accent.
God, come on.
Did it go like that?
It was just horrendous. They just went wrong. From 81 onwards, they just lost all credibility.
Do you know, just before Live Aid,
Garbage.
apparently Roger Taylor and Brian May, they were described as like a divorcing couple because they weren't speaking to each other.
Well, they should have kept not speaking.
They were kept apart because the band was ready for breaking up, and it were only Live Aid that saved them.
Yeah.
They were all going to go solo projects, and they'd had enough at each other. And then they had such a stormer at Live Aid that put them back on track again. Well, not on your track, but,
No,
but on a
no.
track.
No, I mean that were what an album called? That were called Kind of Magic or something like that. One
Something
too.
like that.
So that works. It's just absolutely. It's just commercialised crap from a band that's has got a reputation of being rock. But I mean, how can you go from things like Bohemian Rhapsody, Killer Queen, to Radio Gaga?
Well, you can say that. The
It's
same
a
about.
kind of magic.
You can say that for the same about the Rolling Stones when they did Emotional Rescue or Miss You, which was very disco. You're a Fool to Cry. They all changed the ways. They tried to
think
make
everybody's
chords.
Things
done it
like
at some
Ride Your
stage.
Bicycle,
Like-
Fat Bottom Girl.
Like
These are
the
all...
Rolling Stones tried to go very disco.
I think they've all done this at some stage. I mean, a classic example of that is Led Zeppelin's last album, Into the Outdoor. That is a shocker. Oh, that is a shocker.
It's different.
Oh, it's different. Yeah, it's not like anything else they did. They were chasing something else there, and it didn't work. I think if it hadn't have been for John Bonham dying, that would have been it anyway.
I don't know about that one.
Ooh.
Do you know who owns the...
I'll do that again. Ooh.
Do you know who owns the catalogue to Queen and the distribution rights in America and Canada?
Of what?
Of the
Queen.
Of Queen.
Of
oh,
Queen.
sorry.
Of the back catalogue and the distribution rights.
Is it Oprah Winfrey?
Where did you read that? No, it's Disney.
Disney. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently they own it via Hollywood Records because they
Wow.
own... I don't know if they own all of that or they own a big shareholder on it, but it's all down to Disney.
They're planning another tour, aren't they?
Oh, Disney.
No, Queen.
Oh, with Adam Lambert.
I believe so. I believe
Apparently it's very good though, isn't it?
there's rumours afoot, or even 14.
That sounds like a Fleetwood Mac tour.
Yeah.
And
Rumours afoot.
apparently there's talk of a new album and a tour.
Right.
A new album.
Where
I
have you
don't
heard
know
this
how
from?
true the new album bit is, but I'm sure they'll tour because there's lots of money waiting for them.
Can't wait for that.
Aren't you going?
No.
It's just a disco. It's just the greatest hits show.
Yeah, precisely, and that's what they're going to be singing in it. It's a kind of magic. Radio Gaga. I want to break free. You do want to break free. You want to break. That's off you go.
No.
Break free and go. So yeah. So where they went wrong for me is the little band called Queen.
I suppose yours reason is the same as my reasoning. It's the entry point, isn't it?
Yeah, I just thought they went. I just can't understand why they went from rocking stuff and then to just commercialised pop. It just didn't work. The one to pop band.
To quote an album from Prince, it's a sign of the times.
They got a wider audience as they went poppier though.
Yeah, but it's
They dragged some of their older fans with them, and they gained a load of new fans.
what dragged them through more than
Well, they made a lot.
to
They made a
dry.
lot more money. They made a lot more fans. The
Because-
tours went considerably bigger.
Well, they were doing stadium tours, weren't they? So they were filling out stadiums, and they really wanted to be the band that could get the full rhythm of the audience with the big clapping and stuff.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
I understand why
so
they did
all
it.
these songs,
but I just thought I just think they lost all credibility.
their
in
choruses,
themselves.
the choruses got a lot simpler, so the crowds could sing along because they became a bit obsessed with that. I think so. They turned, without probably knowing it,
think
into
that's
into a power pop band.
That's a Freddie thing, I think, isn't it?
I don't know.
He liked all that limelight.
Oh, Freddie.
Yeah,
He did go on
all
and do that Barcelona thing, didn't he, with the opera singer? So,
Yeah. That's what I mean.
I mean, that's not necessarily.
Fetching opera to the masses.
He should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah, I can't remember what they called her now. Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
Barcelona, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, but didn't he release a couple of solo albums?
Yeah, they weren't necessarily very good. In fact, they flopped.
Oh, so he carried on from Queen one then,
No, not
the
not
later
after.
ones.
No, he got back with
As
Queen.
well as.
as well. So he had two bad albums out. He had The Works and his own crap.
Well, they
did
did
some-
more stuff than there were.
He did some music for a theatre show as well, which I think it was in 2019. The song
Aladdin.
was released, and it was something like something about "Now Is the Time" or whatever. It was actually a pretty good song. It was remastered and edited for release in 2019, but originally it was done for a show, the West End or something. It's pretty good. Very typical Freddie. He does where is
In his vest, in his mankini.
No, it's miming like he's running upstairs, and then suddenly he sees a bee or a wasp, and he's punching it, and he strikes it with these invisible punches, and then all of a sudden he wants to fit a light bulb, and then fix.
And you know why, don't you?
Why does
Because
he
he
want-
wants to break free.
Well,
Montserrat Caballé.
Oh, well remembered.
Thank you.
Well remembered. Somebody's not got a smartphone.
Yeah, Google's a damn good thing.
No, it just came to me there.
Oh, amazing.
As if like telepathy.
As if by magic. It's a kind of magic.
There you go, you see. It does work.
A crazy little thing called phone.
Yes. Anyway, mine were Queen.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's some of the later stuff. I will slightly agree with it. Some of the later stuff were a bit too commercialised and too poppy for me, but I did like some of the early stuff, particularly Seven Seas of Rye.
Yeah, great track.
However, some of their later stuff, one in particular comes to mind, which I really do like, and it's "You Don't Fool Me,"
Ooh,
which is Brian May's version of doing David Gilmour style of guitar work. It's quite nice. It's a bit like atmospherically produced, and it's got a lovely solo in it. It's got a good vibe. I'm surprised you don't know it.
no, is it?
You don't fool me, dum 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 dum.
Oh,
It's got a good driving bass line.
there you go. Your bass lines again. You do like a good bass line.
Well,
Which album's it off? Do you know?
I don't know what album's off.
Have you not got a phone?
I do, but I just, in company, I don't like to get it out. I don't like to fake my smartness. I just keep it real.
All right, okay. Your real is smartness.
I think it might have been like a B-side to something because it appeared on the Platinum Best of.
It wasn't like Brian May solo venture, was it?
I don't think so. It
No?
had the full band on.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, all right.
Right. So mine is Coldplay. Coldplay started off so well. They were one of the forefathers of indie music back in 1998 when they brought Parachutes out. They were doing very interesting things. However, a lot of people called them depressing and they made jokes about, it's slit wrist music. But they were like a more commercial Radiohead at the time. And each album after that became more poppy, and then they just went plums deep into trying to be a super global pop band. Bono made a quip to them after their first album saying, it's a really good album, but if you do that again, I'm probably going to fall asleep. It's just, Bono should have kept his mouth shut because, I mean...
He can't.
What does Bono know?
He can't
What does
keep
Bono
his
know?
mouth shut.
The day he gets a successful song and a band behind him, yeah, I think they're a massive letdown where they are now. I mean, yeah, they've made millions and they do global tours and everyone seems to like them, but I think they are cheap as chips and they've let me down. And if I ever see Chris Martin, I'm going to give him one long solid tut. And he will know where he went wrong.
Oh boy, is he in for it?
At what point?
At what point? The first albums were all right, and it was just after that they just sort of slipped off, and they collaborated with Rihanna. They do like pop dance things. I'm just not. I mean, yeah, I'm sure they're fun to see live, but I'm not going to play their album.
I think the last album that I enjoyed by them was X and Y.
Yeah,
From then on, it was probably all a bit.
Weren't it the Viva La Vida that suddenly went a bit?
Yeah.
Well, they got done, didn't they? Because they were inadvertently copying Joe Satriani in some of the melodies. They ripped off some of Joe Satriani's melodies, and he got sued, or the band got sued, and Joe Satriani won, and they couldn't really wait to get rid of that album. And the X and Y album, they actually sampled Kraftwerk's "Computer Love." Do 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 do. That's Computer Love. Computer Love. Kraftwerk didn't just walk in then, by the way. It was me.
Oh,
Right.
do you know? I was just about to say, get out your German sods. I could have said
Something completely.
Completely non-racist.
Well, that's that German audience gone. Sorry about that.
I do like Rammstein though. That
Okay.
helps.
Well,
I'm sorry, but they can't just walk into Grumps when they feel like it.
they got a knock first.
Selling the low alcohol beer.
Yep, that'll do it. So yeah, Coldplay of mine. They let me down. I haven't got as many facts and figures. I'm not going to tell you, but yeah, they just sort of went completely to the commercial side. And that sound is the sound of the memory. And that reminds me, all of us are literally complaining about the band when they became more commercial and
Very
pop.
wealthy. Maybe
Yeah.
that's the common theme, isn't it?
Yeah.
We don't like the poppy side of any band.
Do we like the undiscovered secret? So like with Kings of Leon, I really enjoyed their early albums when they were thick with their accent and they had big bushy hair and beards, and women specifically didn't like them.
I thought Mechanical Bull will go out. good album.
It was a good album, but it was a million miles away from where they were.
Yeah,
They could have done something far more exciting, but then again, they hooked up with one of the producers that produced Coldplay and produced U2, and then they did Sex on Fire, and they made a hell of a lot of money, and a lot of women fancied them, and they did big arena tours, and they started to dilute their accents, and it was sort of slipped off.
So really, that was their Radio Gaga, wasn't it?
It was their Radio Gaga, but they're not as popular as they used to be. So I'll give them another 20 years and I'll get really into them again when nobody likes them anymore.
And they've gone back to the roots.
Yeah.
They don't do that though, do they? They're not going to walk away from the big bucks arena tour.
No, not now.
It's a strange name for a tour, isn't it?
Not now they've got it.
When you hear bands saying that, oh yeah, we're going to go out on a smaller tour next year, we're going to do the theatres again. It's not because they want to, it's because they have to, because the popularity is waning slightly, so they have to start at a lower level. They can't fill an arena or a sports venue or whatever it is.
I mean,
it's just slightly different now. I mean, if you're that big and you said, right, we want to take it more personal. We want to play a club that holds 1,800 or 1,000 people. It's not going to happen, is it?
What do you think are better to play like for the musician? Do you think doing like a club is funner to play? Funner? Is that what is more enjoyable to play than an arena? Or
well, for several reasons, they've got more of a response from audience. They can actually see the audience, and it reminds them of when they started as well.
Yeah,
I think that has a lot to do with it because when they get success, they get bigger. They get detached from audience more.
However, when you play smaller gigs, so it gets to a point when certain artists, they start doing city halls, right?
Yeah.
And the chairs are bolted to the floor and you are encouraged to sit down and there's no standing. I like to stand, and I'm aware that some people don't like to stand, but I like to stand and watch a gig. If I'm sat down, I feel like I'm not there to tap my foot. I like to be in amongst the
mosh pit.
Not the mosh pit, but I just like to be in amongst the music. But if I'm sat there holding two arms of a chair, potentially arguing about which one's mine to use with the next person.
Eating popcorn.
Eating popcorn, drinking
fizzy pop.
And I don't know, it feels a bit sterile, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I get that. I understand that, actually. Yeah, I understand that.
Nice that.
Yeah, is that me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just
punching the microphone. He says he understands, but it's getting quite violent.
I'm just reacting to... No, okay, yeah.
Thanks.
We're all in agreement then.
Yes.
All bands are crap after the 5th album.
Yeah.
All bands are crap when they start making money and people like them.
Or they turn pop.
Yeah. Well, that's
and then
it's
time,
money, isn't it?
It's time to switch. Find somebody else to switch.
Just
stop.
So,
back up.
Do you think that AC/DC did that?
Akadaka.
Yeah. Because they never really changed.
No, I'm going to say they're still doing this.
They never really
stuff that
changed.
they did when they first started, didn't they? Apart from,
but they got bigger venues, bigger and bigger venues.
But they still played rock music.
They still played the same
stuff.
things they did. The music style never changed.
The thing is with AC/DC, they've got very strong choruses and riffs. Like they're not very muddy riffs. They're very clear riffs, and the choruses are very clear. And you could say it's without being any offensive to AC/DC because they're a fantastic band. It's a bit dumb rock, isn't it? As in, like,
strong. It's a bit strong.
It is strong, I know, but it's very like.
I wouldn't say
and I mean that in a good way. Like it's not. They're not trying to overcomplicate it. They're not trying to bamboozle you. They're not Pink Floyd trying to like really like be smart with the words. They're being punchy. Stomp your foot, clap your hands.
I think they're making sing-along songs.
Yeah, really good at it.
Without going commercialised.
Yeah, the rock songs, but just really like strong, punchy choruses.
Yeah. They haven't had to turn to the commercial side to get 80,000 people clapping their hands above their head.
I think they made a conscious decision that they weren't going to change the style. All right, that style is very much the same on the last tour as it was on the first tour. It's paid off for them. It worked, but they were never going to change. They weren't going to. That's what they wanted to do. That's what they liked to do, and it worked for them. It paid off for them.
Although they are currently working on an acoustic album. No, they're not.
I was just trying.
Sorry, I think somebody dragged the spirit out of your throat there.
I was just trying to imagine Jono doing an acoustic. He couldn't do it. He could not do it.
No, you won't understand a word he was saying.
Well, you can't, can you? Go away and tell that story. Tell the story. Go on, tell that story.
Yeah, it wouldn't work.
No.
You're not going to tell it then?
No, I'll let you tell it.
When he first went on stage, after the gig, Malcolm, or it might have been on stage, I can't remember which, Malcolm went over to him and says, because he liked to talk to audience. But because he's got this very strong North England accent, nobody could understand him, so Malcolm had to tell him to stop talking so they don't understand what you say. Well, you mean what is that? Don't understand what the statement.
So there we have it. 3 bands where we think they've gone wrong.
Or
did they?
changed what we like about them.
What are your thoughts?
Leave your comments.
If you want,
You can do.
you can do. If you can find a way to do it, then do it.
We won't read them.
We won't read 'em.
We might do.
We will read them. If I can see some comments, I'd like to read what people have got to say, even if it's good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah. So what bands do you think went wrong? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Let us know. And
if you disagree with our choices, what choice would you make?
And then we'll just disagree with you and say that we were right all along.
yeah, because we can have the final word.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.